Rumble starts. Main event here on this Thursday morning, which means Dale Hellestray, which means Uncle Lou today, and it means I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum. And even though I've said his name already, it's contractually obligated for me to say three-time Super Bowl champion, 17-year NFL veteran for your Dallas Cowboys and Ravens, Raiders, Buffalo Bills. Dale Hellstray's here, everybody.
Number 70 in your program, number 1 in your heart. Ain't that right, Steve?
Absolutely.
And here you are. I was kind of wondering if I'm going to walk into an empty room after another fun HOA meeting last night.
Yeah, it was definitely fun.
Yeah. Well, you just keep heaping fees and heaping fees.
No,
and
knock it off. Yeah, that, and then,
I can see next the next meeting being down in Cabo San Lucas.
I wish.
With all those
I
fees
wish that was a possibility, but no, not at all, and I don't think board members like each other that much to hang out like that, Dale.
Yeah. Well, you can get you each get your own casita.
Yeah, we have to be separated from each other going forward. It's just it's an odd thing. For those of you that don't know, I've been on the board for like 10 years. I'm on it because I had an HOA problem, and I went, all right, I want to solve this problem. So I ran a campaign. Like I campaigned, folks. Campaigned with the neighborhood. Got on there like 10 years ago. Worked my way up. Been on it for a long time and all that stuff. And it's just amazing to see the ebbs and flows and people wanting their personal stuff done on the board and stuff like it's just an amazing thing to watch happen. And it's just I get the anger in HOAs, but I run it. I want it differently. Now I have 4 other people that can overrule you and stuff. It's majority wins, but it's a fascinating thing.
Well,
there's
what's interesting?
There's definitely a tide turning.
You went about it the right way. So many people stand on the sidelines, whether it's coaching Little League or it's on the HOA board or whatever, bitch and moan,
on Facebook and all that,
and then not do anything.
Yeah,
and I've seen some stuff on Twitter about coaches or umpires in the Little League now just going, here, you do it.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
no.
It's an amazing thing. Yeah, I mean, they literally made me so upset with the way they were running things and the way they were treating people that I went, all right, I'm going to run. And like I said, I did like a whole campaign. I was like knocking on doors.
Really?
Yeah, I got like the most votes ever my first year on that thing. I don't even run anymore, and I just keep getting reelected, right? So, but yeah, no, it's the way to do it. And just the people that sit on Facebook and just complain about it, never show up to a meeting and just complain about stuff. They don't know the reason why things happen because they don't show up to a meeting and stuff. And it's just an amazing thing to see. Yeah, and it's just after 10 years, I'm just worn down and tired of it. I'm just tired of it all. You know what? You guys think we just had an election. You could have ran. Like that's just gonna be my response to everybody. I'll gladly step down and you can take over.
Right.
Yeah, I'll gladly step down.
10 years is a long time to do anything.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I've just hit a
much
wall
less something that's basically has a negative connotation.
And it's free. And it's free. So that was last night.
It is interesting because I still remember when I was on the board over at SCA.
Similar
for
type
those
thing.
5 years, and all of a sudden it's like people seek you out to complain about something.
I don't answer my front door for that reason. I've had people knock on the front door and I've opened it, and they've openly told me how we're doing things wrong and they don't agree with it and all that. And I'm just like, dude, this is my house, man. I don't go to the dog park anymore. When my dog was little, I'd go to the dog park and people would just kind of like, You'd see people like screeching up in their cars with their dog to like get down to the dog park so they could talk to me about stuff that they want. And I'm just like, I'm just playing with my dog, man.
Right.
So yeah, it does change things. I'm not going to tell you different on that, so, but I'm back to the point where like, it's like, oh man, I just, it's running the way I want. I'm happy with it. And now I'm just like, I just don't care. Go back to the old Nazi regime HOA. It's just, I don't care anymore at this point, but we'll see. We'll see how it changes.
You kind of go through your ebbs and flows.
I know, and I'm definitely in one of those I don't give a crap modes right now. That's definitely hitting me right now. But that was last night. I'm going to tell you this. It's because you asked yesterday. This is what cracks me up. You asked yesterday. You ever wake up in the morning and just like feel like you said something wrong? That's every day every time there's an HOA meeting. The next day I wake up and I'm like, what am I doing with my life, man? So that's what kind of mood I'm in today, Dale.
Okay.
Now, Dale, of course, takes off, goes over and does his hit over at KUPD today as well. They're back working this week.
Back working this week, and Steve gets a whole half hour to himself. He looks forward to that every Thursday.
We got sign stealing stuff going on in the ALDS yesterday.
Ooh.
Which I love to talk about and things to that. Mercury last night. Uncle Lou comes in, but Mercury last night, second shot by Asia Wilson.
After fighting all the way back.
That was a beautiful shot, though. This 5 p.m. starting time is BS, man, on a Wednesday night. Just absolute. I'm not going to lie to you. So I'm getting ready. I had to be at the meeting at 5, and I'm getting all the stuff done beforehand and blah, 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 blah. And everything. My daughter had something, and Autumn took my daughter out last night and with her daughter, and they were all hanging out. And so I'm getting everything ready or whatever. And I go to my meeting, and I'm like, oh, it's baseball. So I turn baseball on so I can watch it while we're talking and stuff like that. And I go, oh, the Mercury are playing. I completely forgot about it. It's like 5:45. Game's halfway over. Who thinks of a 5 p.m. start time?
We got to think about the East Coast, Steve. They're a
Do
little
we?
more. They're a little more important
Who
than us.
in the East Coast is tuning in to the Mercury Aces WNBA Finals?
Yeah.
By the way, highest ratings of an NBA Finals, WNBA Finals like ever.
Really?
I told you Game 1, Game 2 stats came out yesterday. They're breaking records. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Game 2 on a Sunday?
Sunday at noon, and it still got a record number.
Really?
For WNBA.
Yeah.
For the WNBA. Yeah, right in the middle of football. Now, a lot of those morning games were kind of snoozers on Sunday, too.
Yeah, but I got to imagine most NFL guys are going to watch NFL.
They're not
They're not going to go,
over.
boy, this game's a
You're not in that
game.
sports bar watching all the morning games,
Yeah.
and you go, hey, can you turn TV 7 to the WNBA Finals for me, please?
Yeah, could you imagine that? The riot.
So Mercury about to go down. Now, they have 3 championships, but they're about to go down with 3 losses in the championship as well.
But this is an absolute surprise. I think
They're ahead
at
of
least
schedule.
a year, if not 2 years ahead of schedule.
And then, like I told you all along, Dale, you made fun of me after they beat the Lynx. I said, they're a really good team, but I don't think they're as good as the top-level teams. And you can see them struggle with the size, the bench, the depth of the Aces this series, things to that effect. But this is nothing but, experience and growth for them moving forward. Absolutely. Now, typical Arizona sports fashion, let down next year coming our way.
You already look at this season's not over with yet? Wow.
You know what I blame, Dale? I blame the name change of the stadium. The morgue over there. Mortgage Matchup Center, whatever it's called. The morgue.
MMC.
The morgue. Phoenix basketball teams are now 0-7 when the name is changed during their finals. Suns, of course, up 2-0 when that was changed. Last 4 in a row. Now the Merc. 0-7 in the name change. Do not change important things in the middle of the finals, or as the finals are coming up. Keep it the same. This should be your lesson. Matt Ishbia didn't learn it from Sarver. Maybe he'll learn it now. I expect one of y'all that cover the WNBA would ask that important question to Ishbia when the time's appropriate. Why did you sabotage your NBA finals? WNBA finals by changing the name of the stadium. You don't see players aren't changing their shoes, Dale. They're not going from Nike to Adidas in the middle of this.
Wow.
They're not doing any of that stuff. Why would you do that? Well, money. But hopefully you enjoy losing your championship.
Why? Because
you take the
MMC
money.
said, hey, if you get it done before the WNBA finals,
It's Ishbia's company.
it'd be a little. Oh, is that his company?
Yeah.
Oh,
You didn't know that?
no.
Yeah, that's a subsidiary to his. It's his public face to his wholesale mortgage company.
Oh,
That's the big one.
okay,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah
I
no, it's
know-
a Matt Ishbia. Matt Ishbia negotiated with himself.
Boy, I bet you that's a hard bargain.
The best part was like literally I saw a thing that was like there were 8 other companies in the bidding, and I'm like, okay. 8 other companies might have been interested, but once they found out who they're going against, they're like, yeah, we ain't winning this.
Let's make an offer they can't refuse.
Problem with that is then they accept it. You got to be careful with that.
It's like when you go to one of those silent auctions or whatever, where you put down a bid, and you're like,
you want to start it a little bit high.
Yeah, I just want the bid to get going, and raise some money for the charity, and all of a sudden the thing's over with. You're like,
they call your name,
yeah,
and you're like, wait, $500? I was just supposed to get it started.
that actually happened to Scott, my son-in-law, last.
I heard a story about that. Yeah, so it was Scotty that did that.
Yeah, he put down just lower bids on 5 or 6 things. All of a sudden he walks, and they're like, "We're so excited to see you." He's like, "Why?" Because you got 6 things.
He's all, I'm gonna have to go get another car to move this stuff home. I didn't anticipate doing this.
Crazy.
First of all, I would turn around and be like, "What? Y'all couldn't step up? None of y'all?" For charity? Oh, that's hilarious. That cracks me up. So Mercury in dire trouble Friday night, 5 p.m. again. Stupid start time. Just absolutely stupid start time.
Well, you can watch it on the way to whatever game you're going to.
Friday night? Oh, the rain. I ain't going anywhere.
What, are you going to melt?
Oh, man.
It's supposed to be raining this morning.
Yeah. Pretty dark clouds out by where I am. Dale's he's looking out the window.
Where we are right now, there are not many clouds.
No, you're right. It got less cloudy as we came in from that perspective.
I went to bed after watching the weather last night and waking up to plenty of downpours.
At least our teams, besides high school, our teams are all on the road. Right? ASU. The interesting one to watch this weekend, BYU, Arizona, down there in Tucson, because Tucson's supposed to get hit hard.
Well, there and Utah.
Friday and Saturday, yeah. So that's where that weather, rain/snow is coming into the Arizona State game as well. But that's going to be interesting to watch. And BYU plays in that type of weather, so they're going to be more accustomed to it than Arizona is. And I got to give ASU props. I should have got the video. They're dunking the ball and handing it to Sam Levitt, and he's throwing it. They're not. And now I did see yesterday. I did see Dillingham with a squirt bottle spraying it on the center, spraying it on the ball beforehand. But it at least then it's just a water bottle you drink out of, those things. It wasn't a bug sprayer chasing the guy around like we've seen. It wasn't a hose where you put your thumb on it and you're spraying the guy. At least it wasn't that stuff. So I got to give ASU props. They almost crossed the line with the water bottle over the center. Almost. But at least they didn't have a hose or a bug sprayer. The guy's pumping it up and spraying it as he's chasing him around.
What was that, UCLA? Or?
USC, I think it was.
USC. It's always interesting when I see that because Jim Kelly used to do that every Friday at practice.
Dunk the ball
and pail of water.
In Buffalo, you have to, right?
Yeah, because you just never know. But, yeah.
Like I said, that the Peyton story and Jeff Saturday, where Jeff Saturday, it's like, we play in a dome. And then they won a Super Bowl in the rain with no turnovers. And Peyton attributes that practice every week on that. It just amazes me that that's something you think about.
Well, the other thing it reminds me of is when I was actually playing center during practice or training camp or whatever, Troy would just bitch and moan. You're sweating too much. I said, it's 98 degrees with 70% humidity.
You lean over and the sweat just comes down?
On your pants, you're wet, and he can't throw a wet ball. He's like, go change your pants. And I go, learn how to throw a wet ball.
That is true. Sometimes you see centers, and the sweat's like down to their knees in the back, and it's just like, ugh.
It's 90 degrees.
I'm sorry, Troy. We're trying to protect you here, buddy. My bad. I'll take it easy. I won't sweat as much.
Right.
I won't work
I'll
as hard.
just snap the ball and stand here.
Yeah, I'll pull a Chris Jones. You see how much slack he's taking in Kansas City?
Yeah.
Took down his social media. I mean, there's taking it too far, which some people are taking it too far.
You're going to say it's a lazy play and you're getting paid a lot of money.
But Andy Reid even kind of defended him yesterday, which I was kind of like, It's a bad look for your highest paid guy. Robert says, don't forget, text us, 623-252-6670, whether you're catching us on the free YouTube page, on the free podcast systems, or, of course, here at Robat TV Live or whatever. Text us anytime. It comes in just like anything else. Of course, at TME Sports Show as well. Robert says, need to invest in a Ring camera. That way you don't have to come downstairs to get the door. No. Okay. So with the break-in over the summer, and I struggle to do this. I just don't think cameras are the answer to everything. Like, I hate how there's cameras everywhere. It just bothers the crap out of me, especially around my house. But I got cameras reluctantly around my house, just on the outside. And I got the Ring cameras, so I have a camera by my front door that's kind of hidden up at the top, and I can talk to people. But all I'm getting now is, somebody's at your front. And you click on it and look, and it's just stupid. Like, I don't want to know somebody's at my front door. I don't.
Yeah, but if you're in your...
That's why I didn't do the Ring camera.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't do the doorbell one, is because then people know it's there. Now it's kind of hidden up at the top. So
Yeah,
people
but you
know.
might be in your skivvies upstairs,
I don't-
eating some
look,
popcorn.
If I don't know you're coming, don't knock on my door, because I ain't answering it.
I love that Sebastian
I knew you were gonna go
Maniscalco
with
bit.
that. It's so true. When we were kids, somebody ring the doorbell, and we'd be like, somebody's here. Everybody go change. You do your best. Let's go see who it is.
Come on in.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. The other day I was sitting at home. Somebody knocked on my front door, and I was watching a video. I was sitting in that room. In that room. I'm 20 feet from the door, and I'm on this couch, and I'm watching this video. And somebody knocked on the door. I turned on the video, and I just laid there. Until they walked out.
I know he's in there.
I could hear everything he was doing outside. He could hear my video probably, and they just stand there.
I'm kind of afraid to ask what video you're
So
watching.
it was a business one on the government shutdown and stuff. So it was really boring. But then on the other side, now I can turn on my camera outside and watch them just stand there. Well, I'm staring at them on the camera, waiting for them to move so I can continue my video.
I can't remember the last time I actually rang a doorbell of somebody who wasn't expecting me to come over.
Well, we got Google Fiber in our neighborhood now, so they're constantly knocking on the door trying to get you to switch over.
Oh.
Stuff like that is what it is. And then with my rental properties, people are always knocking on my door. Hey, you want to sell this property over here? No, dummy. Like, is it for sale? No, I don't. But thanks for coming.
Is that what they all sound like? Can you do that again?
They're scumbags of the earth. I'm sorry if you do that and you watch us, but if you knock on people's doors asking them to sell a property to you, you are worse. I rank lawyers who ambulance chase about 7 layers above you.
Wow.
You are a garbage human being trying to take advantage of people. And I'm not talking about, like, who's the one that advertises on Holmberg? I'm not talking about guys like him because, you know, they have a, I don't know how to say it. They have a professionalism to them. Doug Hopkins is who I'm thinking. They have a professionalism.
Well, and you call them.
Yes. I have a feeling they call people, but they don't do it like these people do. Like, I have a neighbor that, you know, had to put their house, had to stop paying their mortgage and doing some stuff like that. And they said that it was like 30, 40 people would just walk up to their door throughout the day, knocking on the door, asking them to buy the house and all that stuff. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? I don't want to deal with you scumbags right now. And then the phone calls, I get texts, phone calls constantly. This new iOS is amazing because it silences numbers that are just numbers. So if you're not saved in my phone, it still goes through, but it says silenced call, so it doesn't ring to me. So I don't even know you're calling. It's like, thank God.
I'm up to probably 10 to 12 spam calls a day.
That mine's probably double that, just because of the businesses and everything.
But it's like,
and now this business here is registered as a company, so now I get all these marketing people calling, hey, let us help you build your podcast. That's all right. I'm good, thank you. I don't need to pay you to do it. It's just so annoying. It's so annoying. You know what else is annoying?
what's that?
Kickers and their snottiness.
Ooh.
I'm going to say special teamers as a whole.
Ooh.
You know these K-ball rules? I've been looking into this a lot lately. Because why are guys kicking 75-yard field goals with ease?
And it seems like over the off season.
Yeah, they weren't doing it last year.
It wasn't happening last year.
No. And because they changed the rule. Did you know this?
I did not. It was very quiet.
It was very quiet how they changed the rule. I don't think people saw the effect. So kickers are bigger. Kickers are more specialized now than they've ever been. Even punters are at that point and stuff like that. But in the past, up until this year, the rule was pretty much the same. You got your kicking balls, which are separate from the regular playing balls. You got them about 30 minutes before game time.
Yeah.
And then that's where you'd see if you're familiar with the Inflategate with the Patriots, is where, they'd be adjusting air pressures and scuffing them up and and doing all that stuff. That was for Brady, but they do it for kickers and stuff like that. And basically, they got 3 balls to work with and to work on, and then they can decide which one they want in the game and all that stuff. So 34-minute hit. They changed the rule. You get them the week of. So you have all week to work in your ball. They get to kick them during practice. There's a brush that Wilson makes that you have to use. You used to put them in the dryers.
Yeah.
You know all this.
Oh, yeah.
You want to let those secrets out. All of that stuff. So they have all week to work in these specialized balls. They have a K on them. And now they have a guy on the sideline with a vest that has a K on it and all that stuff. So not only are kickers getting stronger, more specialized, whatever, but now they're able to get the balls in perfect kicking condition for them to kick all throughout the week. That's why we're getting record kicking. And I have a theory. On this, on why the NFL wants more field goals to be made. Offenses struggle to score these days in terms of, a lot of offenses struggle. There's some teams that don't. But I have a theory that the NFL wants points put up no matter what. So if an offense stalls at the midpoint line, they want a field goal kicker that can make a 65-yard field goal so your scoreboard goes up and you don't have a 6-3, a 10-3 type ball game. They want 29, 20 ball games. They want 32, 28 ball games. And the way you achieve that is when your offense stalls, you're able to kick 60-yard field goals, 65-yard field goals and make them.
Well, I played long enough to see it go through a bunch of different phases. Went from like it is now when I first came into the league to then the actual kicking balls used in the game were never touched by the teams. They came out of a box. The guy with the K on his little deal, he was in charge of them the whole time.
Yes, and balls are just like you buy them at the field.
Yes.
Like you take them out and they're slippery.
Hard
right?
to
They got
snap,
that shine on them.
hard to kick, all those things. And then but what didn't make sense was they make every rule more advantageous for the offense. You never see them put in a rule that allows you to play defense.
This
better.
is my point. If a defense does its job, the NFL, I suspect, is saying, good job, defense. We're still going to give them 3 points, even if it's a 70-yarder.
Or next year we're going to put in another rule
Yes.
so that you can't breathe on somebody.
I just firmly believe the NFL is like, we want points no
Yep.
matter what.
Yep.
We want every game to have 20-something points on it, both teams, minimum, going forward. And it's just, I don't know if they arbitrarily are doing that. I don't know if that brings more eyeballs. I can't find stats on that stuff. Because to me, a 10-3 ball game, it can be dirty, nasty, gross to watch. There's also some beauty in that.
But see, here's the thing. They're not going after the diehard guy.
It's for
Just
the
like
people-
baseball. Yeah, hey, if you're a seam head, a 1-0 pitcher's duel,
I love it.
It's wonderful.
Give me an hour and a half pitchers duel, 1-0, 0-0, 1-0 at the end,
Yeah.
and I'm happy with my life.
But
I move on.
90% of fans want to see 9-8,
That's what's wrong with America.
7-5, and same thing in football. Yeah, 10-3 game.
yeah.
You might be able to see the beauty of it, but 90% of people are going, no, 29-27. That's exciting.
Because it means it's a defensive battle
Yeah.
out there, and the NFL's doing it. So much so, I found this article on The Athletic written, field goal attempts of 50-plus yards week 1 through 4. Back in 2020, we're talking 5 years ago, 62.8% field goal attempts of 50. This is attempts, right? In terms of, I'm sorry, that's made attempts. 43 attempts at that time, 43. 2021, 43 attempts. One less then, so it's 60.5%, but one less made. Then you go to 2022, 53, 77% made. Then 2023, a back tick, 66, more attempts, 46 out of 66 attempted. That's 20 more made. That's 23 more attempts, 20 more made just 2 years later, but only a 69.7 clip at that point. 2024, 81 attempts above 50 yards, folks, in the first 4 weeks. 61 made, 75.3%. This year, we're down a little bit. 76 attempts of 50-plus. 56 have been made, 73.7 attempts here going on this point. I mean, today's day and age, if you can't make a 50-yard field goal, you're not making it in the NFL.
No.
Minimum.
No.
And it's to the point where if you're not making a 60, 65-yarder with regularity, you're not going to be a kicker in the NFL. And it's an amazing thing. So, the kickers are stronger, more specialized, et cetera. And let's face it, the other thing about kickers they're expendable. Tyler Loop for Baltimore all of a sudden starts missing kick. You have another kicker in there the next week.
Oh,
and if that guy doesn't kick well, you have another guy in there the next week. There are just people waiting to take those jobs and try their attempt, to try to kick those long field goals and stuff like that, which is kind of an expendable position and stuff like that. But this rule change with the ball, it's just when you can control what you use here, it's going to make you better. Now, it's for the kicker. You get the ball ready for the kicker. But does a long snapper have a say in it, or is the long snappers just got to adjust to what they want on their ball?
No, you just want a ball that's been, used.
Not shiny.
Yeah, you don't want that film on
But
it.
you don't care if it's got a weird.
No,
because they lean in them. They lean in them to get an odd shape.
Yeah, but it usually goes back to the normal. The other thing that nobody talks about is the fact that the longer field goal you try. Remember, if you miss it, the opposing team gets the ball where you're attempting the field goal from.
Yes.
So all of a sudden you're attempting a 60-yard field goal, and you miss it.
They're getting the ball
on the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
And so, and yet coaches are not afraid to do it.
No, because they know they're going to make them.
Yeah.
You're not attempting it if you don't think they can do it. Is my philosophy on that, right?
Yeah.
So basically, they're saying the rule change gives specialists the same amount of control over familiarity with the footballs they decide to use that every other position has. Because we all know quarterbacks, have always had that, as we know with Deflategate. But quarterbacks have always had that ability to put the balls how they like them, and stuff like that. So 1999 is when they moved to the unopened K-balls, where they didn't allow you to do anything, even before a game.
Yeah.
Is when they tried that. And it went spectacularly horribly. Guys were missing kicks left and right.
Yeah, and snappers were snapping left and right.
I mean, there's even who's Steve Hoffman. He coached kicking for the Cowboys from 1989 to 2004, Dale.
He's my guy.
I don't know if you know him. He's quoted in this Athletic article.
Is he?
So that's why I wanted to bring this up. What do you think he would say about this? Well, he talks about it, Dale. He goes, we would take the balls and go into a racquetball court with a baseball bat. One guy would toss the ball up in the air and whack. You'd hit it with the bat, and you'd just beat them up with the baseball bat.
Yeah.
Then we would wet them down, put them in the clothes dryer with some damp towels. Then we'd take them out and let them dry, and then we'd go back to the janitor's closet and get big spinning disc things that janitors use to polish the floors, turn those upside down. We would polish them up and make them look like they weren't too beat up.
It was a whole process.
And then Dale's like,
process.
I'll snap it. Give it to me. Let's go.
Now, Steve Hoffman, the one thing I always remember about him is I got there in 90. I think he got there the year before with Jimmy's crew. And
89,
and he lasted 15 years, 16 years.
2004, yeah. What it said.
Every year he said, my whole goal is to get 15 years here. And on my last check, Jerry Jones goes, who's Steve Hoffman?
Well, no doubt, right? Especially at that position. Who's this guy we've been paying? Yeah. Why are we paying this guy? He said, now this is an era where you did it with all the balls. So he said they did it with every game ball. He even says Troy Aikman got to pick the footballs he liked, and kickers would choose from the rest. Mm-hmm. So you still have a priority if you're choosing.
Yeah,
which
the guy who's going to throw 50 times, the guy who's going to kick it 5.
So the K-balls from 99 to 2008 was when they just literally took them out of the box and handed them to kickers to kick during games.
Yep.
And even this article's like, kickers hated it.
Yeah. Well, that guy that had the K on him, he had eyes on the ball all the time.
They could not go to the bathroom without the balls with them. No pun intended there, right, as well. But I found it interesting that your guy who was involved in this is out there talking in this article and everything.
Well, I told you that. I told you that when when everybody tries to do the Deflategate stuff. I said, I promise you, Troy had no idea what the PSI was.
No, he just knew what he wanted.
He just knew what it felt like. Yeah, like this one. No. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and I've always said that about Deflategate. Did they take it too far? Possibly. Somebody needs to be in charge of that. But, yeah, I have no doubt that Tom Brady's not that smart. Where Tom Brady's like, I want 17.256 psi in this ball, please.
I know I looked at Rule 16-4, subset A minus B, and I want you to fudge the PSI just a little bit. No.
So, interesting story there, but that's why we're getting these 65, 70-yard kicks now.
Well, along with, like you said, the
Yeah.
kickers are bigger,
You
stronger.
got to give kickers credit.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other side. Go back and watch film. Who was the kicker of the Cowboys? Give me his name. I don't know.
And we had 8 of them.
Well, give me one of the good ones.
How about Scott Norwood in Buffalo?
Okay, Buffalo, yeah. Good one. That's actually a really good one there, right, from that side. They were specialized, but when he would kick a long field goal, let's say a 50-yarder, which was considered long back then,
Yes.
or even the Super Bowl winning one, which I don't remember what that was, but it was a makeable field
It
goal.
was about 48 yards on
Yeah,
grass.
and it was makeable for him in a high-pressure situation. It wasn't one where you're like, you expected him to make it, and he just pulled it right, from that side. But when they would kick those long field goals, it comes out super low. That's where you get the push from the line, and all their hands are up because it has to come out lower to me. Watch a guy kick a 65-yarders this year, and it's 10 yards above the line's head.
Yeah.
Going out there, and then it's still good from another 10 yards.
And
it's not just
and
hitting
it's
the
going
crossbar.
into the net behind the goalpost, going up.
Watch back in the day, and those balls were hitting the crossbars and bouncing in or something.
Yeah.
And so it's not just the balls. There's no doubt about that. It's not just the balls. Something has changed with the kickers.
Yeah.
Even punters today.
Stronger, bigger.
Hang time. I watched this thing was it yesterday? I watched this thing with Peyton. Peyton produced it with Pat McAfee, and they were talking about the time that Bum Phillips accused Ray Guy, the punter, of putting helium in his footballs because his hang time was so good. Nowadays, if you don't have a hang time of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds, you don't have a job in the NFL. I'm making up numbers there, but it's just fascinating. I know I've delved way too deep into kicking balls over the last week, but I'm fascinated on why guys are able to kick balls like this.
Spend a little more time on your HIA, Steve.
Well, the other side of it is, to be honest with you, is I just have no life. Really quick before you get out of here, ASU Utah injury report. I just want to prop this up here. Big 12 does injury reports every time. This is the second time I'm going to question this here because we saw this with Baylor. We saw it with TCU as well. Guys should have a graphic of this if you could throw it up if you have it. Is ASU, it doesn't matter who's on there. I mean, there's some question marks. We'll get into Alfred's out, right, for the defensive back, which that's going to hurt them a little bit with the Utah offense. Casey Brown is questionable. But here's my question. Is ASU over putting guys on this list? Because this is the second time now. The Baylor game was the first one where the other team has, like, I'm just making up, 7 guys on it, and ASU's whole team is listed. Is this just a situation of ASU going above and beyond, saying who's hurt and the other team's not? Is Utah really this healthy coming in this game? And we have one probable and a bunch of out, everybody else is good to go.
Maybe they're just tougher up in Salt Lake City.
It's a real thing. There are NFL coaches that will just, if a guy just, he grabs something in the locker room and his finger hurts a little bit, they'll just put him on the injury report, And then there are coaches where a guy will have a headache and they'll be like, not on the injury report, not good. I just find it fascinating. This is the second time we've seen this where just ASU has just listed everybody and not the other way from that side as well. So it fascinates me there. And then the other thing here, sign stealing is legal in baseball. it's a 3-minute video. We're not going to play the whole thing for you, but I want to get Dale's opinion on this. Throw up the sign stealing video here for Dale. We'll listen to just the beginning of it as we heard it there, but right there. This is yesterday's game. Nailers at second.
There's a strike. Keep an eye on Josh Naylor out at second base as well. Remember, he was able to signal home for Canzone. You see the arm motions.
And then look where the catcher's setting up.
Garver waves and
ball was
misses,
inside, right? So you can take it down, guys, really quick. I just want to get Dale's thoughts on this. 3-minute long video of the inning of Naylor doing it. You're seeing a lot of guys doing this at second base. And they even say it in that video. There used to be a gentleman's agreement, and you weren't on that. Your thoughts on so blatantly at second base telling your hitter where that ball's going.
Well, it looks like he was 50% on the two sign stealings.
I watched it. It wasn't accurate. Now, I will say this. I've seen other players say, I'm just waving my arms around. I'm just making them think I'm saying something.
It's number one, I've always been told from the dawn of time that if you can steal a sign from second base, that's in the unwritten rules of baseball.
It's perfectly legal.
Now, you go to the Houston Astros level,
Use a trash can,
you
video.
use electronics, all that.
Well, even Red Sox, they use Apple Watches and things to that effect to cheat as well.
So, again, my biggest thing is because I always go ahead.
No,
because they're
just
not
curious.
right 100% of the time.
No, but I'm going to make a bigger grand point about cheating in baseball right now and stuff like that. You never saw guys tip that they were tipping pitches back in the day. And there's one reason why. They would have got a ball in their ear hole the next time they walked up to the plate.
And you can't do that anymore.
You can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Baseball's gotten soft to where guys are literally on second base doing a dance, telling the hitter what's coming, even if it's faking it. You wouldn't have dared to do that back in the day. And that's what's sad to me about baseball is we've gotten so soft in baseball to where it's like, yeah, go ahead and cheat.
They can't police themselves.
We can't do anything about it, so go ahead and do whatever you're going to do. And to me, that's a sad day in baseball. That's the point I wanted to make with that is do it, cheat all you want. Baseball's a cheating sport. It's just sad to see as we go. Dale, get out of here. Uncle Lou's coming up at 9 o'clock. Come on back, folks. I got a few other things for you baseball-wise. I got a stat on JG being fined. Last coach to do it. Another Cardinals coach, Bruce Arians. Interesting there. Come on back, folks. The main event.
Go Yankees.
We got Uncle Lou coming up here at the top of the hour, of course, for his segment, UFC. Some good fights last week, some decent ones last week, and then, of course, fights this week, NFL talk. And, boy, do I have a lot of questions on the way the NFL's acting these days with these comebacks and everything. So that's coming up here at the top of the hour. When Dale was just here, he, of course, takes off to KB. Listen to that podcast later on in the show, or later on over there for KUPD to hear Dale's segment over there as well. And everything, but it's just good times to be here. We appreciate you joining us, whether it's live, Robat TV, on demand as well on Robat TV later in the day, the free YouTube channel out there. We're not advertising it anywhere but here on this program still. We haven't pushed it out, and some of you are finding it out there, so we appreciate it very much. Give a shout-out to Heathen Hammer finding it and putting it out there, and we thank you guys very much. Comment there. We see them. We'll talk about those on the show. Of course, the text line. 623-252-6670 at TME Sports Show, like Robert just did. And he said, I'd still buzz the tower, of course, on the baseball situation. He says, always try to be the antithesis of Tory. But it's not just Torrey. It's a lot of managers these days don't like to do it. There's some guys that are into it still, like Aaron Boone will do it if necessary, right, for payback. Some of the old school guys will do it. But also Major League Baseball has legislated it out of the sport. And when I was just watching that Detroit-Seattle game here yesterday when they talked about it, but seeing it before, you've seen it all throughout the season if you've watched a lot of baseball. Just guys blatantly do it. And I have seen some teams say, I just wave my arms out there because I want them to think I know something. He goes, I don't know what they're doing. So they're just doing it because it's just something you never saw before, blatantly. Because if a team thought you were cheating, you got an ear wall after that coming up your way, right? So from that perspective, just an interesting thing around baseball kind of that I've kind of honed into here lately as well. So here for the next 15 minutes or so while I wrap up this hour, we're going to kind of shoot around to a bunch of things. Of course, we talked Mercury earlier in the Stone with they're down 3-0 now. Just what an unbelievable shot. Got to give Asia Wilson a lot of credit last night with that shot that she made to win that game. But look, Mercury down 3-0. Something we'll have to pay attention to as well. Lots of rain / sleet is going to hit Utah this weekend. Arizona's going to have a lot of rain down there playing BYU this weekend. Those are going to be fascinating games to watch with the weather. It's going to change things as well on kind of what the outlook is. We'll talk more about that on Friday, of course, on our Football Friday coming up as well. And then, in terms of baseball side of things, Yankees got eliminated yesterday. I watch a lot of Yankees baseball during the season. I am not a Yankees fan by any stretch of the imagination. I like Aaron Boone as a manager. He's just fiery. He's feisty. It's the opposite of what we see here, and I just like that style of managing. The problem is he's got a lot of superstars and high payrolls on that team. He cannot get them over the top. Yes, they made the World Series last year. You guys remember the errors. They just wilt in those power situations, and it's kind of interesting to watch it happen with them. And they overcame a bunch of injuries this year to get to this point, but eliminated by the Blue Jays of all teams. Going into this season, yes, the Blue Jays spent a lot of money on their team this year, but nobody had the Blue Jays doing what they've done this year. They have been a surprise. They're actually got a really good chance. I'm actually torn right now at this moment. Now, Seattle still has to survive their series here, but I'm actually torn on World Series champion this year. It's going to come out of the AL, I think. Is it going to be the Mariners or going to be the Blue Jays coming into it? Blue Jays have proven that they belong going forward, so it is fascinating to watch this series. And the National League side, and then the only caveat on that is I think maybe the Brewers have a good shot to beat one of these American League teams. Other than that, just the Phillies, if they can survive this series, they won last night against the Dodgers. Obviously, the Dodgers have a chance because of their talent and things to that effect. But I think the Blue Jays can match them. I do, in terms of talent, in terms of hitting, pitching, etc., against the Dodgers. So it is going to be fascinating to watch how this comes out. Every series continues, except for, of course, Toronto and Yankees. So Toronto sits at home. Seattle and Detroit. Here's the thing. All four teams played yesterday. American League sits today, so only National League goes today. So that's going to give some time for the Blue Jays. Obviously, they're going to be able to set their starting pitching moving forward into the next round against either Detroit or Seattle because they don't play till tomorrow. So that time is going to be, I think, in the Blue Jays' favor, at least to start that series coming up there. Now do you get cold from sitting, et cetera, is what to watch at. Yesterday, the guy let me down. I told you guys yesterday, Yamamoto is just going to mow down the Phillies, shut them down. Maybe the Phillies can get to the bullpen, et cetera. Well, that didn't happen very well either because Yamamoto did not do what I thought he would do going into that. Philly's still alive. I think ultimately the Dodgers win this in the next game today. And then Brewers, Cubs. Cubs got the victory yesterday. I do think both of these series get wrapped up today. Phillies, Dodgers, 3:08 p.m. today. Brewers and Cubs at 5:08 today coming up in that. And like I said, the American League's Detroit, Seattle, which has turned into a really good series. Closer than I thought it would be for Seattle. I thought Seattle was going to kind of run away with it. So that's what the baseball status is as of now. And then NFL stuff really quick. Joe Flacco gets traded from the Cleveland Browns, moves over to Cincinnati. not a very far trip for him to take to get there, starting this weekend. Right off the bat, they sent a car service to him to bring him to Cincinnati. And the whole time he had the playbook in there. The coach was on the phone with him talking about it. We'll talk to Lou about this coming up, but I'm going to see how the line has changed here, if it's changed at all with Flacco going to Cincinnati and starting this weekend. If Flacco had these receivers in Cleveland, he would still be starting today. You guys know what I'm talking about. Now, I told you guys yesterday with Flacco, Joe Burrow hangs onto the ball and with that offensive line, and he gets in a lot of trouble because the offensive line can't block well. I believe Joe Flacco is going to unload football so fast behind that line because Joe Flacco knows he ain't mobile. Joe Burrow, the problem I have with running quarterbacks, like Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, for instance, is they hang on to the ball a little bit longer because they know they can escape and run if they need to. Joe Flacco has no thoughts in his mind of running that football. I think he's going to unload that football quick this weekend to guys. You mean to tell me Jamar Chase and those guys aren't going to be able to catch the ball and get yak afterwards, yards after catches and things like that? I think the Cincinnati – I'm not saying they're going to go win now and they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think you're going to see a different style Cincinnati Bengals offense this weekend with Joe Flacco starting in this game. And if he's looking at the playbook going into yesterday traveling to Cincinnati, he's going to go to the coaches and they're going to ask him, and they're going to say, what plays are you comfortable with? And he's going to be ready to go. This is going to be a fun and interesting weekend. So we'll check in with Lou on how that line's changed and things to that. But the last thing I wanted to bring up on the NFL here before Lou comes on, Jonathan Gannon got fined that $100,000 by the Cardinals for the DeMarcado situation on the sideline on Sunday. Jonathan Gannon is the first NFL head coach to be fined for an altercation with a player. Now, he was with a different team at the time, but he was an ex-Cardinals head coach. Since Bucs head coach Bruce Arians was fined $50,000 for swiping his hand at safety Andrew Adams' helmet during a January wildcard game back in 2022 against Philadelphia. I just find it fascinating. Now, it was with Tampa, but he used to be here. He's fired here as well. I find it interesting that two coaches tied to Arizona Cardinals are the last two coaches to be fined for taking swipes at players and that. Just makes me interested. Those things interest me a little bit as we talk about them going forward here. So I tell you what, let's bring Lou on here real quick. If you can throw his microphone on and then throw him on the screen. He heard me talking about the Bengals and stuff and everything going into this weekend. You said something there about it when I was talking about Joe Flacco and what I expect from him there, Lou. What were you saying?
Well, actually, I thought your take was interesting and is interesting. The line moved not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
No, we don't recognize Flacco as some kind of a savior because of – and you really hit the salient points. He's not mobile, but to me, if I'm picking a quarterback for my team, I mean, I'm cheating because all I got to do is whatever Jim Harbaugh's doing, okay? But I'm taking Herbert because of this.
Yeah.
The NFL quarterback, this must be their muscle. I don't care how they can run and everything else. Now you put the fact that this kid's got a cannon, so that's a different subject now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking in terms of Joe Flacco. Like I said, they got the Packers this weekend. I'm not saying they're going to go in and beat the Packers. I'm just saying because everybody's saying, well, if Joe Burrow couldn't escape this offensive line, how's Joe Flacco going to do it? Two totally different quarterbacks is my point. And I'm not saying Joe Flacco's not going to get hit and stuff to that effect. But old man Flacco knows how to – he played with the Baltimore Ravens line that wasn't very good when he won a Super Bowl one year. Like, they weren't top of the league, and he got hit a lot and stuff to that. But that was the defensive side, right?
Well, I mean, what I'll say for this is just how I look at it. And Cincinnati's on the road in Pittsburgh, short week Thursday after this.
After this, yeah.
Okay. Right. So this is a tall task for Cincinnati if Burrow's at the quarterback.
Yeah, and that's why I want to be clear.
Green Bay's off a bye.
I have no qualm. I'm not saying Cincinnati's going on a run. I'm saying it's not going to be as bad as people think it's going to be for Cincinnati.
I don't know. It's been pretty bad for Cincinnati. I don't know how Flacco, a statue, is going to change it. But again,
he's going to be better than Browning.
I don't know. I'm not ready to give you that. A couple of years ago, Browning came in and did well. We'll see. I mean, I'd rather wait and see, but I find your take very interesting. I am a pro Joe Flacco guy. I know he can play, and if he can help Cincinnati just in the aspect of hope, which is really what I think you're trying to say.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
The hope brings a bunch of superstars on that offense, and sometimes that's all they need. So
I mean, I put it in context with the Cardinals. We've been talking about them. Cardinals,
yeah.
Cardinals moving forward have zero hope. The fan base of the Cardinals have zero hope anything good's going to happen for the rest of the year.
That's a futile approach. What I've heard from Cardinal reporters is that they're using this to band together this week, and
okay, we'll see on Sunday.
Well,
we'll see on Sunday.
I have to listen to it all and judge what I think is worthy.
But
of
the
being
Bengals
judged.
have taken their team who has zero hope with Joe Burrow going out and just it's going to be a bad season, and to where it goes. In our division with the Ravens struggling, and all that. Can we finish second in this division? Which they've given hope to their fan base, right? Is basically how I'm putting it here. Is what I'm talking about.
To their fan base.
Yes, that's what I'm
But
talking
make no mistake about it. Behind closed doors, the team never has, or no NFL team has lost hope. They all have it. That's what they're paid to do. What Steve's talking about is hope. This is all the
From the
fan
outside
noise
stuff,
around the team,
which Lou doesn't like me doing.
I need you to do it because it's the noise that creates the overreaction that gives me the opportunity. So it's all connected. It's just that sometimes we approach it the same topic from really different positions.
Yeah, no. That's why I'm glad to have you on here because you look at it. And not emotional side.
I try and be clinical
like
about it, which is funny because most people knowing me growing up know that that's the last word you could use to describe me.
Here's my question, and I'm not asking you to handicap anything and stuff like that, but Yahoo came out with a quarterback report card on the season.
Who?
Yahoo did. Yahoo's
a quarterback authority.
Quarterback.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So go ahead now.
Well, you always do that to me. But this is interesting to me, right? They have you look at this clinically and you look at it the lines and you're like Joe Flacco did not move the line at all on Cincinnati. All right. So it's not a point from that perspective. But you look at it here, the NFC West, for instance, obviously, quarterback from Brock Purdy to I just forgot his name, who's filling in for Brock Purdy right now. They give them an A.
The young man from
Mac Jones.
Alabama.
Mac Jones.
Yes.
So they give them an A. They give Seattle's quarterback, Sam Darnold, a B. They give Sam Darnold, Sam what's his name with the Rams? Sam Darnold. Anyway, the Rams quarterback. They give him a B
minus.
minus.
Jimmy G?
No, he's the backup.
Oh, okay.
Stafford. Thank you. Holy
Stafford
cow. What is wrong with my mind here? They give them a B minus. Then they give Kyler Murray and the Cardinals quarterback a D from that perspective. It's just like, it's hard to argue that, to be honest with you, with what we've seen from what we see there. But quarterback plays a lot into kind of what you do as a handicapper side, right? Like you factor in quarterbacks, how they're playing. I know there's other factors you look into it, like DVOA and the defensive side and stuff like that. Are we overhyping quarterbacks is my question to you as a fan base. Is our quarterbacks that instrumental to a team's success as it once was?
I think it's more so now than ever before. Because back when I was coming up, Bart Starr, Len Dawson, Roman Gabriel, I can go Y.A. Tittle. I'll go even back into they handed the ball off. It was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And now litigation is such that the NFL, you see it now. You can see, the NFL's involved in professional flag football. Make no mistake about it, you 18-year-olds and 22-year-olds listening out there, that's what your game's going to be. This NFL, as we know it today, is on its way out, and the one I knew is already gone. So as we approach a much more 7-on-7, wide open, less physical kind of a game, you're going to see all the importance placed on rushing the quarterback, covering a receiver, and then getting the ball to the receiver.
Yeah. And they basically, Yahoo put out their grades on the teams, but they put a lot of emphasis on the quarterback position here and how they're
I
playing.
think you
and stuff
have
like
to.
that.
I don't
Yeah.
think they're wrong
So I was
in
just-
that.
Because I was looking at it from the gambling perspective. That's why I asked you that, because lines move. If a quarterback's out, lines move. Generally, if it's a good.
Oh, yes.
If Josh Allen's out this week, that line's sliding.
6.5 points.
Yeah, and stuff. So I think it's still big, and that emphasis. I just think you don't need a great quarterback these days to win. You need a great defense, right, or a good running game to win. So the emphasis on the quarterback for me is kind of a deal.
Oh, I think that it's totally the opposite. I think I think the quarterback's everything. That's why Harbaugh went to California
Yeah.
to go coach this kid.
Yeah.
It's everything in today's game, as far as I'm concerned, because you have to process. Look at Mayfield. Look at what a great job he's doing, and those that are somewhat struggling or at least inconsistent are the younger kids thrown to the Tigers a little bit early, and it's
not
tough.
ready.
That's how you can ruin a guy, but some can succeed.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, right, Dan Marino would come up or Troy Aikman would come up and struggle for a year. Peyton Manning struggle for a year and then come out there. Now you're
Yeah,
seeing
they
guys.
had offensive lines and
Yeah.
world-class coaches that were able to build a
and
team
that's the
around
problem.
them immediately.
Now you're seeing guys come out and they struggle for a year and then they just continue to struggle and then you move on from them early and all that stuff. It's fascinating to watch how this goes.
You're dead
you know,
right.
from that perspective.
They give them
so.
new offenses to have to learn 3 in 3 years. That's impossible.
Yeah,
that's
so,
like
yeah.
taking a high end math course, which I couldn't pass a low end math course. But it is. It's unbelievably complicated.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's just-
I got nothing but respect for all the
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
It's a fascinating, just you're starting to see it. ESPN has grades out here for, a quarter of the way through the season and stuff. I just found it fascinating on the Yahoo side that they kind of lean towards, more of the offensive side with the quarterbacks than they did anything else from that perspective. And it's kind of surprising. I feel like Bengals a D-, mainly because they don't have a quarterback right now.
Who did they rate real high?
Well, obviously the Bills were an A. Patriots, they have Patriots as a B in terms
think
of their
that's-
first quarter.
From that, just a glimmer, I think that's not far off. That kid looks like he can play.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Because
I
last
think
year,
Vrabel's like, holy cow, we found a quarterback.
Last year they were like, yeah, this kid ain't Drake May ain't it, and now he's like, coaching matters in the NFL, and I think that's part of the
and a
Cardinals'
guy
problem.
that I'm not high on at all, I think Stephon Diggs is really helping the young quarterback as well. Diggs is not a guy that I believe is very good long term for a team, but in the short term, a year and a half, he's lightning in a bottle, and we saw it the other night.
Interesting enough, AFC North, right? That's what I'm saying on this Bengals situation from a fan's perspective, and it'll be interesting to watch from a gambling perspective if they can do it. But I mean, Steelers are a B. Browns C-, Bengals D-, Ravens F as well. This was done before the trade yesterday, by the way. Also, and that's just 3 out of 4 of those teams don't have a quarterback, and I would argue Steelers necessarily don't have a quarterback. He's doing just enough this year, but Aaron Rodgers isn't one of the best quarterbacks in the league and stuff, and you could just see those rankings.
But
kinda
I
be
think
down
for
at that
3 or
point.
4 games this year, he could be, and they haven't used him yet.
Yes,
And
that's the
when
thing.
are they going to use him? Hopefully when they get to the playoffs, when his experience will come through. I wouldn't underestimate the Steelers. I really wouldn't. And I don't want to underestimate Cleveland. But I'm ready to underestimate Baltimore and Cincinnati.
The interesting side is AFC South. Colts A, Jaguars A-. I mean, the Colts is everybody's surprise this year, but I told everybody the Jaguars are going to surprise, but I have them winning that division going into the season. I said they're going to surprise everybody.
That's a good call for
The-
crying out
yeah, the
loud.
problem is the Colts are ruining that right now. 'cause
Well,
I think
they
the
haven't
Colts
even
might
played.
be better. I know, but I watch the Colts and I'm like, they
Ain't
might be
nobody
better.
No, really, as a fan, if you want your side, you want all the glow on Indy, and they're getting plenty of it.
Absolutely. So, well, we'll get that. Let's take our break here. Top of the hour. Come back. Uncle Lou's segment coming up, of course. UFC fights. And big surprise there in the main event last week there, Lou. Wow, what a big one. And then, of course, NFL talk with you as well. We'll get more in depth of this weekend. With all these comebacks, how do you even look at putting money down or talking to your friends around the water cooler about football? Well, maybe this guy has some answers, because I don't. Come on
Maybe.
back. It's the main event. And we're back here. Main events. Thursdays means Uncle Lou shows up here. Of course, you can catch him. He does a lot of VSiN shows out there. Gamblu.com is where you can find him. At Gamblu on X as well, for those of you want to reach out to him during shows and things to that effect. Lou, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for letting me come in each week, Steve. It's not easy it's easier now for sports handicappers to get time. There was a time when you couldn't really even admit you were doing it. And I was doing it then. I'm doing it now. I hope to keep doing it. It sure is fun. It is challenging. I don't care if you're betting playoff baseball, NFL football, preseason hockey, if that's your thing. It isn't easy to win. And what I try and do is actually advise people on how to win.
Yeah, and hockey underway, just got underway
Yes.
the other day. And all those fights in the preseason, maybe these guys got it out of their system with all the recklessness in the preseason happening there. So it'll be interesting to see on this season. It just, hockey's in a bad spot, man. It just drops the puck to start its season, and nobody cares, man, because it's right in the middle of baseball playoffs, NFL as well. And, of course, you do the playoffs coming up next year, for everybody out there to know. So tell everybody where they can find you on your website and everything you support.
So my single point of focus is winning at select sporting events. Those sporting events are displayed and who I am and what I do at the webpage that I am able to use, Gamblu.com. And that page, there's a band along the top. You'll see the tabs you can hit and find everything out about not only me, what I do, the sports I work, but on the far right, we're totally pro-Arizona, and the oldest mission in the whole country is in just south of Tucson, Arizona, called the San Xavier Mission. And it's dear to any Arizonan's heart. We support it fully. And each week coming on, Steve allows me to draw attention to it because we divert profits from Gamblu.com to the mission and invite others to also. You can see the tab clicking down there. Kobe's got it flashing. You can go check out the mission all on your own should you choose to decide. We're lucky enough to be able to drive down there and go. Steve, thanks for allowing me to draw that attention to them.
You guys going down to the Arizona BYU game this weekend. Take your boat, first of all, with the amount of rain they're supposed to get. But, two, stop by there. It's just outside of town. And see what Lou supports there and everything. And absolutely. And like I said, it's I think that's an important thing that you're doing there on top of trying to – win at some gambling side, because it's all great about winning money, but there's some real life stuff we like to deal with.
We all know what's really important, and let's face it. I could have been born 2,000 years ago pushing rocks up a pyramid. No, I get to be a sports handicapper in an air-conditioned room with Steve, so I'm counting my blessings.
Yeah. By the way, AC's fixing it. It says it's 75 right now, but we got.
It's so temperate here. It's great. Right. We got a huge. We're up 7 floors. We're looking down on the 5th largest city in America.
I'm looking forward to, right downtown. It's gorgeous.
Awesome.
We walk down the hallway. We get a nice view of Chase Field over there.
It's awesome.
And everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rain come in and seeing how it looks as well. And if you watch McCollum on Business, you'll actually see our backdrop. I open up these blinds.
Oh, really? Neat.
It's behind me and stuff like that. So new desk is on its way still. So temporary here, but we'll be moving some stuff around. But it'll be fun when it's all done out there. But I want you to give your intro, of course. This weekend's UFCs are at Rio, so early morning start here coming up. Of that, we'll talk about that here on our way. But I got a couple of questions about last week fighting. And
yes,
Lou, I did it. I jokingly, I was going to text you, and I was like, I don't want to text him and bother him, because I jokingly put out on Twitter, hey, Lou, look where I am. I was at a UFC party. I actually got out of bed, put some pants on.
I saw that tweet. I think I responded.
No, you did. Yeah, you did. And, I was just kind of having fun with it and everything.
Good.
And, so I saw it with other UFC fans. And
you're saying, hey, here's who Uncle Lou says, and my guys get iced.
It started with, this is what I would go with, guys. This is what I would do. And then it went, I have a guy that says to go with this after it didn't go well at the beginning.
I didn't hit one. I offered.
I'll say this, man. That's the first one, in terms of, not you wanted to watch that fight against Daniel Santos. You said you was on your watch list, at least last Thursday.
I went down with you.
So what are your thoughts on you? Second round KO there, 21 seconds into Santos.
He was willing and game. He just got anxious and walked into one. I think what he needed to do is take that fight into the third round because it was Santos that asked for the catch weight. He was having a hard time making the
Yes.
weight, so you try and tire him out. You got impatient and knocked out for his troubles.
Yeah.
Turn the page. The Ankalaev, I was as wrong
Yep.
as I could
Well,
be there.
Well, before we get to that, I just
okay.
want to ask you really quick. Patchy
Yes.
Mix, his second fight
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Split decision this time. He made it to a decision, didn't get his face pummeled in. From that, I'm just curious on Patchy Mix, what you think of him after his second UFC fight, after a disastrous first one.
When a minor leaguer goes to the major leagues, there's a huge period of adjustment. And Patchy's going from minors to majors, and he was a good minor, a great minor leaguer, but he ain't that good a major leaguer.
Wakalax, I think is how you say it. Didn't look like he was that great. Obviously, underdog won this fight against Patchy Mix.
Is
So
he-
second fight now where he's been beat. He's supposed to win it. And he's, at least in terms of
Mario
odds.
beat his brakes in, and this young kid from Poland, a debuter, hey, he's fighting for his family too. I don't care where he is or where he's from. Patchy had the name and was flapping again,
Yeah.
and the kid just earned the W. We'll see what happens next time. Nothing but respect to the young Polish fighter.
Yeah, just curious on those two pre-game fights there, but
But we need
obviously-
to spend time on Ankalaev because I
Yeah,
got to come to grips on the loss.
Yeah,
there.
we're getting to that. Trust
Okay.
me. But you were big on Pfeiffer last week as well. There as a favorite there
Yep.
against Abus Magomedov. There, he was the favorite. He gets the submission in round 2, 146. And just your thoughts on that? I think Pfeiffer. I don't want to say struggled in the first round, but but he definitely came out in that second round a little bit ready to go.
Yeah, he thought he had a bad first round, and listen, Magomedov's a world class opponent, but Pfeiffer was the better man, and to sub him means something. The issue was he's a big favorite, and I didn't use him in any way,
Yeah.
at least with clients. I don't know what I shared here last week, but I didn't use him, and looking back on it, if I could go back and bet the cards after the results, I'd be 95% on my picks.
Wait, you would still miss some? Zalal Emmett being from Phoenix, Arizona. He doesn't still train here, does he? But I know he's from here, but he doesn't train here still, does he? Emmett
Trains at Alpha Male in California.
Okay, so he
and this
did, because
dude's-
they kept advertising Phoenix, and they kept talking about, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't train here anymore. I mean, he's a tough guy. We thought maybe this would be a long fight, maybe to a decision. A lot of people thought that. Zalal just went in there and just minute 38 submitted him pretty
Nobody
quickly.
does that to Emmett.
He had never been
Topuria
submitted
didn't
before.
Do that to
Yeah.
Emmett. That was amazing.
And Emmett's older, right? It's like
and
38, 39?
40.
Yeah.
And fortunately, that's one I didn't bet with. I didn't release, but that's one via sub that I had at. I think that was 4-5-1.
Really? Yeah, I mean, nobody does. I mean, they were even saying that on the broadcast. They were like, nobody does this to Emmett. Nobody does it to him.
Immediately. Too,
Yeah, it was quick. And then you got, our buddy Yuri and Roundtree Jr. I like Roundtree Jr. as a fighter. I've always liked him about it, but I've seen 2 fights now where he dominates the first couple rounds, and then that third round, he can't swing. He can't have any power. He's just gassed. And you saw it coming. You saw it switch so quickly. Yuri ends up getting the win in that third round, and just Roundtree was trying his best to do anything in there, but you could just tell he was done. How can Roundtree not be coming into these fights conditioned enough to survive?
Oh, he is. He's world class. The issue is he can beat anyone from number 4 to anyone else in the history of human fighting that has lived. Okay, he can't beat the Pereira and he can't beat Yuri. Oh, both guys that are taller, longer. Yuri has poor defense, and Roundtree did strike him. But it isn't that Roundtree didn't come prepared. He gave everything he
No,
had.
I'm not saying that. Yeah.
He's facing guys that are better, and the issue is that you could see Yuri wasn't that marked up after the fight. He's better than Roundtree. We just saw it, and we've seen Pereira knock out Yuri twice, and that's what would happen again. Now this Pereira calling for John Jones, very intriguing. I don't know. I'm fascinated to see what Dana White does with that.
Then the other one that these were good main fights, and we talked about them last week. Corey Sandhagen there, right, ends up losing, of course, to Davishvili. Unanimous decision, but I think a lot of people, and I remember last week we were talking about this, that Davis Veely was going to go in and do some damage there. And I thought Sandhagen handled his own in that fight. As to me, it looked like the smaller guy in the fight. But I thought he handled himself pretty well, even though he eventually lost with that unanimous decision. Did I see it wrong?
I see it just like you saw it.
Okay.
Sandhagen's good world-class fighter, but Balashvili's different.
Whole different level from that side, right?
From anyone
First of
else
all,
in the division.
I don't know how you get in an octagon, a ring, whatever. But if a guy is coming into the ring and he's doing nothing but smiling while you're hitting him, I don't know. Just walk out. Congratulations. I would have just thrown my hands up and be like, I'm out of here. I'm hitting him with everything I got, and he's just smiling at me.
He's a
the whole
great
time.
fighter, but he is nutty.
I'm like, this guy is crazy.
He's nutty.
That's all I kept thinking during the fight was.
They
even
all
that,
are.
even that
They
last
really,
round, I was
to
like,
get in a cage and have it
No,
locked behind you.
I know,
you
and then
gotta be
it's
a little
another
nuts.
level when the round's about to start, and you're sitting there all dancing and smiling, and
wait.
it's the
He
fifth,
loves
and you're
it.
like,
Wants to turn around fighting in December already.
Then the big one, of course, Ankalaev and Pereira coming to this. I mean, I don't think anybody saw a minute 20 knockout here. When this fight started and Pereira went after him, I went, uh-oh, Ankalaev's in trouble. I didn't expect him to get knocked out or the fight cold.
Did
that
you know
quickly.
that after 1 second or 10 seconds?
Literally, the second he went after him, and you saw, I almost
Saw that he threw a straight right. He
And
threw
Ankalaev-
a 2 and he missed.
yeah, and
And
Ankalaev.
you thought if that hits him,
No,
it's over.
It wasn't even that. The way Ankalaev reacted to that throw, I think he was surprised by it. I think he went, uh-oh, and he kind of like curtailed, and that's how he got on top of him and went down and stuff like that. It's just Ankalaev, I think.
Fought with broken ribs and rib cartilage.
Is that what it was? Okay, because I was about to rip him and
those are the
say, I
facts.
felt like he was walking in, and he was like, I got this.
He walked in a sitting duck,
Okay,
but
so
he
that's
walked
different.
in because he's a warrior, and that's that Dagestani pride. He ain't. And when Pereira says he was hiding in the back room from him at the PI,
Yeah.
he was. You know why? Because he was taking shots so he
Oh.
could try and train and didn't
Yeah.
want the
Okay.
opponent to see what's going on.
See, I didn't know that, and it
No,
changed it. But,
there's a
yeah.
little light that
Yeah.
needs to be shed out around here. But that said, I don't care if Pereira, really, after what I saw, I don't care what kind of condition Pereira could have gone to that fight in positively. I don't think there was a chance in hell he was beating Pereira that night,
Yeah.
or the Pereira that I saw, that you and I saw.
He was a different Pereira in this fight.
Oh.
He was. I mean, that bell rang, and he was.
Look
it was like,
out, Charlie.
yeah, it was. It's like a bullfighter,
That
right? You
right
just-
missed. That he come out and he threw that too and missed, and I was like, oh, that was the end of the fight.
All right, so I saw it the same way, and like I said, I don't watch this like you do, so
I
it was kind of
got to
amazing
start
to see.
changing stuff up, or at least lying to Steve. Otherwise, he doesn't need me. And
Yeah, I'm
you
gonna
guys
start-
can just listen to him.
I'm gonna
break
start
down these
handicapping
fights.
it all. I never would have come on and said, you know, I was even saying it going into it. I was like, I just don't think Pereira has a. Seeing the way he's fought the last couple of fights, I just don't think Pereira's going to do it. But I didn't know about the ribs and obviously that. But
Pereira or
just
Ankalaev?
Pereira, but the aggressiveness of Pereira,
Oh.
even if that fight would have gone longer, his aggressiveness at the beginning is what surprised me and stuck with me.
That's
in
how
that
he
fight.
wanted to go out and get in a fight.
Yeah, I just always sit there and I'm not a fighter, but you get all warmed up, you go through all the stuff, you know, you get taped up, you do all that, and you go out there, and just 80 seconds later, you're going back to the locker room. It's like, you don't have all that stuff out of you yet,
First
if you
of
get
all,
what I mean. So
I'd go through every motion. The thing that in my contract that I would make is that it wouldn't be an octagon; it would be an acre of yard, because then at least I could run.
run away. I know. I'll just
That's
never.
my best
just-
defense. And I have 2 new knees, so I can't run.
Just the way folks, go back and watch it if you get an opportunity. Just the way, going back to Davishvili, the way he was acting in that ring while getting hit at times and stuff, it was just, to me, was disturbing.
And then
Because
afterwards,
it's just, you shouldn't act that way. When you're
did
in a
you see
fight.
some of the film of them afterwards?
I
The
did.
2 of them. It's just great stuff.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's
Great
the other thing
stuff.
about this. You're in there, you're just beating the brains out of each other, everything. And then after the fight, even
They're hugging
Roundtree,
and kissing.
even Roundtree gets knocked down, can't defend himself. His arms are basically just water, in that third round. And after the fight, he's over there hugging him and giving him high fives. And it's just like, wow. You got to give these guys a lot of credit
Oh,
for what
the
they go
culture.
through and then what they do afterwards, and that type of stuff.
The mixed martial arts culture exceeds that of boxing in every single facet, form, an aspect except for one thing. In boxing, the corner man will throw a towel in to save his kid and let him live to fight another day, which is correct. And in the culture of mixed martial arts, they can't do that. The corners will get fired from the fighter if they do that. That culture needs to change, because you don't need to be 26 and getting totally ripped up when you can fight till you're 36 if you're smart.
Save for
It's
the
the
next fight.
only wrinkle that boxing has, that ethic over mixed
you
martial
see
arts.
fighters get mad at refs that stop fights. We're like, no, they're literally laying there not defending themselves. A ref will step in. You'll see that guy hop up and yell at the ref, like, "What are you doing? Stop it!" It's like, you got to defend yourself.
Sometimes,
at
I mean,
least.
they go down like a tree. Sometimes the hitting of the floor is what wakes
Yeah.
them up, but usually those refs got a tough job. They do it overall a pretty good job.
Zalil in that fight with Emmett, he finished that quickly. Then he went over and started talking to Dana White on the side there, right?
Yeah, he wants a big fight.
Is that what he was? Was that what he was
he wants
asking?
50 G's and a big fight.
Yeah, well, he did.
Yeah,
He did not
that's-
get a bonus. I tell you.
That's too bad.
Pfeiffer performance of the night, Roundtree Yuri performance of the night as well, and
That's
then
what he wants to see.
Pereira
That's
as
where
well.
that's where you're going to get bonused when you do. If you saw the Dana White Contender Series fight the other night, two dudes stood there toe to toe, just rock 'em,
Is
sock
that the
'em,
one
roll
where he
'em.
gave them both the contract?
Yes.
So that
Yes,
was
'cause
recent.
That's what he
Okay.
wants. That's what they're after. This Gamrod Olivier we'll talk about in the main event this week. He ain't crazy about those two guys rolling around on the floor. all
I
day.
didn't see that Contender Series fight, but I saw Dana White talking, and I just giggle a little bit because he goes, we're sending both of these guys to the hospital, but we're signing them both,
Yep.
which we never do. And I'm giving them both, was it $25,000 or $50,000 bonuses on top of it.
25
That's what you
grand a
want. You want
kid.
the violence, not the wrestling side
That's
of it.
right.
You know?
But those
So-
kids, they earned it, and that's a lot of money to them.
So this week, coming up, you have from Brazil, 4 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, our time here. Main card coming up from Brazil this weekend. Brazil fights, generally, I don't think there has been a bad Brazil fight. And what I mean by that is they treat these kind of like numbered fights where you get usually good matchups here in these fights. They're not treated like some of these other ones we get on these fight nights where it's a bunch of people you don't know going into it. So it's going to be a fun fight this weekend, huh, Lou?
Yeah, it'll be a great card. It's basically like Brazil a Brazilian in each fight against someone from another part of the world. So
Brazil versus the world is how you phrased it on your blog.
So
there on your
I mean,
website.
that's what we see, and so we look at each fight. There's only 4 big boy fights, so there's 3 heavyweight fights and a 170. But those will be fun fights to watch. A couple gal fights, okay, but mostly you've got some form of very high level Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist, mixed martial artists, meaning they got Muay Thai striking and boxing and hopefully wrestling, and they're going to take on somebody from another part of the world, whether that be a striker, a wrestler, or whatever, a BJJ expert, and so there's a diverse amount of activity. I don't really concentrate on a lot of the undercard, but there's a handful of fights that we need to talk about, and excuse me for glazing over the lighter women fights that are usually lined at 2.5 over.
Yeah.
So,
And 2
but
decisions. But what about for the undercard? What about that heavyweight bout, Walter Walker and Muhammad Usman? I've seen Usman fight a few times now as a heavyweight. Anything in that fight? Brazil versus Nigeria here in terms of countries for this undercard fight. Anything there?
well, that's one of the heavyweight fights, and Walker 27, Usman 36. Walker's 4 inches taller, 9 years younger. Even though Usman's going to have the short reach advantage. Usman's a wrestler from the University of Arizona, brother to Kamaru Usman, ex-champion of the welterweight division. But he's slow as a glacier. He can wrestle okay, but he doesn't have great gas, doesn't have any snap to his punches. He's not a great mixed martial artist, nowhere near what his brother is. Walter Walker is a one-trick pony. He heel hooks people. He's standing in front of you 1 minute, and the next time, the next minute, he's on your calf and knee, wrapping his legs around you, taking your heel, and making you tap out. He's done that 3 fights in a row immediately. I expect that's exactly what he's going to do to Usman here. Usman's there to be exactly what Usman is, statuesque, slow, and there for Walter Walker.
Okay.
And so Walter Walker is a decent favorite. He should be. The total 2.5. If Walker's going to win, I think it's going to be under that 2.5.
Under 2.5 is minus 154 right now.
Yeah,
for that.
that's what they think too.
Walker's a 310 favorite, and we use DraftKings here for UFC numbers, so everybody knows here on Thursday morning. So so under, and then obviously Walker getting that done from that side.
Yeah, I would say if you're betting Walker, bet him via sub. I suppose he could win a decision, but via sub would bring his price a lot better for you. So that's one undercard, and it's a heavyweight, so we should pay attention to it. There's another heavyweight, Tom Peterson against Victor Petrino. Petrino, the Brazilian, he KO'd his last opponent who was, there for him, and this guy is really designed to be there for him too. As we're aware, when they go to Scotland or Perth or Brazil or, Timbuktu, they try and get regional fighters of that area to perform well, maybe even hand them somewhat favorable opportunities by the matchup in order to inject enthusiasm, excitement, and more spread of their sport in that area. Brazil has always been a hotbed, and they've always done it that way in Brazil. And so Petrino gets a somewhat slow journeyman of a heavyweight fighter in Peterson. That'll be a fun fight to watch. But the action fights are two, I hate to say it, 225-pound flyweight fights, men, both of them. And the first one is Filho against Carpenter. This is going to be a great matchup because Filho's world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu, okay striking, long and lean, but he only stands long enough to try and roll. Carpenter, a savant wrestler, fights out of the MMA lab here in Phoenix, Arizona. In his last fight, he took on a world-class Dagestani wrestler and was schooled to an extent as he was beat by a guy named Ulanbekov. Carpenter on the bounce now travels down to Brazil in a matchup that I think is a positive one for him, for I have been taught that a Brazilian jiu-jitsu world-class specialist has one kryptonite, and that's a world-class wrestler. That's what Clayton Carpenter is. Carpenter, I think, is going to be he's already a release for us, and I think he's in a good spot.
Minus 125 right now. Over under on this 2.5, minus 195. Flyweights, you generally don't, maybe a submission, but you generally don't see any power or anything. These guys are going to
roll.
Wrestle. That's what I mean.
They're
They're going
roll.
to be on the ground a lot. Yeah.
And Carpenter opened plus 145. Now he's the favorite. So, and that's in Brazil, of note. Usually the Brazilians are the ones that get bet and get higher. Then the other fight is the same weight class. You got an Aussie shipping in by the name of Nickel, and he's fighting this Brazilian Roca. And this is a recency fight. Roca looked great in his last fight. So did Nickel, but Nickel lost, but he looked great until he was losing. And I think he's coming in, and everybody saw that he got subbed and he was beat, but they're not looking to how he performed and who he got beat by. I think Nickel's live here, currently priced plus 100, and this should be
DraftKings. He's moved to minus 102 right now. So
interesting. So he's a little bit the favorite. He's coming in off a win over Jesus Aguilar.
Roca's minus 118.
Okay, so if Roca's minus 118, then my guy Nickel is minus 102.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's better than minus 120.
Yes.
So listen, the bottom line is Nickel, the Aussie ship-in, is live in the fight. And those are the two I wanted to draw your attention to.
Now, on this flyweight, the over-under is 2.5, minus 175 for the under for these two guys.
Yeah. So they sense that one guy's going to dominate the other. I just think they have the wrong guy as the favorite.
Yeah, perfect from that side. So that's the preliminary fights here coming up this weekend. So a little bit earlier than normal, 4 p.m. our time here for the main card. That means the undercards are about 1 o'clock, I believe, if I do my math right. 2 o'clock. 1:15, I should say.
Yeah, so we go 1:15 and 4.
Yep.
That's great because Saturday most people are watching college football anyway.
Absolutely.
Baseball trumps everything for
Well,
me this
there might not be baseball if all the series get wrapped up today and tomorrow. So, Saturday will be an off day. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no. Yeah, because
It's okay. Give me baseball during the week when nothing else is on.
I guess what's today, Thursday. So if the NL series wrap up today, I guess they could maybe play Saturday. But I haven't looked at the schedule at all. But yeah, so
Well, what game?
might be-
Which one? I think they all could go to 5. But I think the one.
no, the NL's games are 2-1 right now for today, and that's the thing. If they go to 5, you're right on that. I just don't think they're going to continue. Interesting, you said that, Lou. I think Phillies Dodgers might be done today, and the Brewers Cubs too. But so for the main card today, you have Lucas Almeida, Michael Aswell Jr. is the first one coming up, featherweight bout, and then you got another featherweight right after that, Ramos and Alfley. For these guys fighting, anything to watch on these two fights?
Yeah, as well as high octane, high power slugger. Almeida, 2 and 3 in the UFC, desperate. No real thought there. It'll be an action fight you want to watch. How's that?
So watch that one. It's just you don't know how it's going
And
to
then
come out. Okay.
Ofley and Ramos, same thing. That's a featherweight fight. Ramos, this is his second fight at 145. I think it'll serve him well here.
Is he coming down or going up?
He's going up.
Okay.
So that'll be he went up the last fight. So this will be his sophomore fight at 45. He's got 6 inches of reach. He's younger. He's taller. The Aussie's tough and determined 0-2 in the UFC. So he's going to be desperate. Again, that'll be a great fight to watch. 2 desperate fighters fighting for their UFC lives.
And then we go from those two featherweight fights to a heavyweight bout there. Denise and Mario Pinto here fighting each other. Brazil, Portugal.
Yeah. Pinto, a KO guy. Denise won his last fight. I don't really know enough about Pinto here to be able to assess how he can do against Denise. So this is a due diligence fight. I got to watch Pinto. Denise is nothing special, but he's Brazilian. So if this thing turns into a slow dance at the high school prom, you might want to want him because of the judges and the crowd.
Yeah, for any decision, right? Over under, by the way, over 1.5 minus 250. So yeah, that tells you that might be a decision coming your way.
Pardon me.
Quickly on that. Then you got Luque and Alvarez coming up in a welterweight bout here in this next one.
Alvarez is a lightweight cheater, meaning he is too big for 155, and he kept missing weight and knocking out all these guys. So now the UFC's had enough of him, and they said, you're fighting at 170. This is his first fight at 170. The issue is not only is he big and long and tall for 155, he's still big and tall and long for 170, and he's powerful. The way to attack him is to put him on the ground and figure out a way to get on top and make him quit. Luque can do that. Luque is the legit 170-pounder. Luque has tremendous experience. He's been in against the absolute elite of the division, except for Luque now at 33. Most people think he's 37 because that's how much damage and time he's accrued in the UFC over 11, 12 years. I'm interested in this fight. The only way to bet it would be to take Luque. Another indirect way to bet it would be to take the over because I think Luque's more durable, and that 170, he's a natural 170er. And even though Alvarez is going to be bigger and taller and longer, I think it'll take him time to adjust to the weight. So I would lean to the over on this fight, knowing that Alvarez is a dangerous man and Luque's at the end of his UFC career. So I'm just not very confident on the underdog side.
Yeah, over under 1.5 minus 140 to the under in this fight. So Vegas kind of tells you.
So you get
there.
plus money if you're taking over.
Plus, plus 110.
Yeah. So now you look at does the fight to start round 2, and now you pay maybe 125 or 130. That might be a way to go too.
Yeah, fight to start. Yeah, fight to start round 2. You save that
2.5 minutes,
minutes if you do that.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. You got Figueroa, which I've seen both these Jackson against Montel Jackson here coming up. Brazil versus United States bantamweight bouts. The next one up here with these two fighters.
Yeah, U.S. guy, tall, long, young, fast, powerful, has it all. Ascending fighter. However, he's taken a huge step up. Figueiredo, former champion at 125, is now segued to 135, and he's simply fought killers at 135. And yeah, he's gotten beat by a couple world-class guys at the top of the division, but that's no shame on him. He beat the brakes off Marlon Chito Vera maybe 3 fights ago. So Figueiredo at home, huge dog. We're going to get his best effort, and they're shipping Montel down there. And most fighters that ship into Brazil want to do it. They have heard from other fighters how special it is to be jeered at and told they're going to rip your heart out and feed it to their dog and stuff like that. It's a passionate crowd, so they want to go down there. But I almost wonder, with Figueiredo having so much experience and fighting in front of home, how that may affect Montel Jordan. And so, Jackson, I've won a lot of money on Montel Jackson, but this one could be some kind of Figueiredo play. I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah,
We'll
right now
weigh-ins.
he's plus 260. Over under 2.5 minus 195 to Figueiredo.
Over,
so
right?
To the over. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
For Figueiredo there. So it's that's an. I've been reading a lot about that one, not just with your stuff, but around UFC side. They seem to be focusing on that fight a lot here going into this weekend between these two guys.
It's going to be a big telling fight in that weight division.
And then you've got, I think that's what it is, right? These guys are, the winner here is being set up to,
compete in the top 7.
Get
That's
up to
a
that
tough
top
league.
level,
That's
right?
Dvalishvili's.
Yeah.
And so they need fresh blood. He's clean through. He's sawed through everybody up there.
So I think that's why that's why I think I'm reading so much focus on that. And then you got the main event, Oliveira and Gamrot fighting it off. Seen both of these guys before. I was impressed with both of them last time. So what are we looking at here with this main event?
A killer fight. Oliveira was originally scheduled to fight a long, tall, stand-up striker who had to bow out of the fight, and now on short notice in comes this Polish wrecking ball who's a vice grip wrestler. And so the stylistic change on short notice is huge for Charles. And we talked about it with Carpenter. World-class wrestling is kryptonite to world-class BJJ, and that's what Charles has. On the ground, I believe that Gamrot is superior to Charles Oliveira's BJJ, and we're going to find that out if Gamrot has any chance, because he'll take it down. Now, he's going to have to deal with striking in order to do it, and that's where everyone believes that Oliveira is miles ahead technically, power-wise, precision-wise. And while I may give the edge in stand-up to Oliveira, let's not forget, he was just KO'd 3 months ago in a previous fight. And Gamrot's not a striker, but he trains at Florida's AT&T, and since he got his fence painted 2 years ago by striker Dan Hooker, he's been working on his striking. And so he's going to come in more prepared to be able to deal with Oliveira's striking, and I this is a fight I like Gamrot in.
How has the number moved to Gamrot? Was he a favorite to begin, or did it move toward him? Because he's minus 118 right now. Oliveira is minus 102 at this moment.
Yeah, Gamrot opened minus 145. Okay, so we've seen money come to Oliveira, and I get that. You're getting him at a dog price in Brazil. Wait till Saturday comes. I think you'll see that fight might flip, and you'll see Charles Oliveira money. You might even be able to get Gamrot at the plus 102.
Going into that fight.
You might.
That fight will go off around 6:45 p.m. on Saturday, so you can watch it before the ASU game, folks. If you like to. Over under here 3.5.
Is the ASU game here?
No, it's at Utah.
Good, because it's going to be rainy and sloppy here.
It's going to be rainy and sloppy there too.
Oh.
So over under 3.5 to the under minus 130 here for this main event coming in on this side. So
3.5 basically says they don't know.
Yeah,
and that's good because I don't either.
But minus 130 on the under tells you they're pretty, at least bettors or somebody's pretty confident that this is ending early with somebody, right?
That would lean towards Oliveira, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see.
Exactly. So that's coming up Saturday, of course, from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Brazil.
I giggle myself all the time doing my Vin Diesel impression.
Brazil.
So when we come back, we'll get into the NFL with Uncle Lou as well. At this point in the season, I'm just like, I don't know who's winning anymore. Just see what Lou has to say with any guidance that we have this weekend. So come on back, folks. The main event with Uncle Lou. And we're back here. Main event Thursdays with Uncle Lou. Of course, catch him on many of his VSiN appearances that he makes. Of course, Gamblu.com as well. His blog is up there. It's a good read, whether it be NFL, of course, UFC. I know it's a little late for the Sneak Teep podcast. Some of those lines have moved and things, but it kind of can still listen to it and get kind of his thoughts that he saw earlier in the week and kind of compare it to what you see now out there. And those things. And, of course, those of you that do invest with him, the About Business now in Brazil. When's the weigh-ins?
Oh, that's a great question. So those weigh-ins are probably going to be tonight at anywhere between 9:30 Pacific time to 1 a.m. Pacific time. You've caught me unaware, but I know I always like it when it's away. However, because it allows me, whether it's in Europe or in Brazil, I'm able to do the weigh-ins one night, and then the next day, Friday, I can wake up and concentrate all on the podcast.
Get your thoughts in order and everything. You're not watching it.
I
and then
make my
coming to
notes
thing.
during the weigh-ins. Yeah. After the weigh-ins, I pretty much know what's going to go on. But the good news is I can sleep on it, and if any last-minute news, somebody gets sick or something, I get it before I make the release.
Yeah, absolutely. So look for that coming up, and of course, you do NFL talk as well. And look. After these last couple of weeks, we had 4 games last week with big comebacks late in the game where teams were down 14-plus points. Comebacks from that side. We have quarterbacks being traded. We got quarterbacks injured galore. We got quarterbacks coming back. We got quarterbacks going down. I just throw my hands up.
Who cares? We don't need quarterbacks. They're not an important position. I heard that earlier somewhere.
I should have known that was going to be thrown back into my face.
I couldn't wait.
From that perspective there. But, that's just the big question today. We talked, if you missed it, before the 9 o'clock hour. Luke came on a little early. We were just talking the Cincinnati Bengals. The line has not moved with Joe Flacco, obviously, starting for them this weekend in that news. We kind of briefly talked about that before the top of the hour.
A lot of money on Cincy, though. I will say that, Steve.
Since the trade, or was that going into it as well? Since the trade, I imagine, right?
I think before and after. When you show NFL handicappers double digits,
really?
They usually
Double?
Just take it.
Really?
Well, 14.5.
Yeah, it's what it is. I know, isn't that crazy? Against the Packers, and Packers coming off a bye week.
That's right.
And they're looking ahead to the Cardinals next week, right? The Packers.
Well, I suppose that's one position.
I try to say it with a straight face, everybody. I try to.
I'd be worried how much rust they got.
Tonight you got Eagles, Giants. Eagles coming off one of those teams that had a comeback against them last week. I know it's Thursday Night Football. They're going to New York. That's just a simple little Amtrak ride or train ride up to New York. It's not travel on this one isn't as worrisome on a Thursday. I worry about 2 things in this game: Eagles psyche, because there's a lot of talk, and we've talked about this with the Eagles a lot, Lou. There's a lot of talk of unhappiness in that locker room. A.J. Brown's not happy. He's not getting the ball thrown to him. Other receivers in that boat as well. Saquon Barkley's returned to New York here, obviously, tonight, plays into this. I'm worried about the Eagles' psyche going into this game. Now they're playing the Giants. I like what Jackson Dart's doing, but they're without a couple receivers. Any thoughts tonight on this game, Lou?
As you guys know, after all these years, I sidestep Thursday games like a dog. I watch, I'll look. They put division games on for familiarity, so it's easier to prepare, even though you got no time to prepare, especially for the road team. But the one thing I would say is that an old-time handicapper like me looks at this game, and I see 40.5 for the total. I get excited. Then I see a 7-point line. Wow, that when you don't have to do a lot of math to realize 7 means a lot more in a 40-point over/under than it does at 50. And so the Giants plus 7 points is 105 at the Circa right now, and so that means there's the Eagles could get pushed back to 7.5, which is where it opened a week ago.
I can tell you FanDuel, because we use FanDuel for NFL here. It is already at 7.5.
Yes, because they're betting the Eagles.
And it's minus 115 on the Giants at plus 7.5.
Yeah, this is a Giants plus 7.5 position or pass.
Not at a minus 115
I'm more interested
number,
in
though,
it
right?
Talking about it now than I was walking into the studio.
Because of the numbers and
yes. You're going to give me 7.5 with the Giants. That's hard to overlook.
Yeah, so going to Thursday night's game, and I despise Thursday night football. I just try and find anything to watch it and have some interest in it, to be honest with you, across the board. So last couple of Thursday night football games have been close affairs. That's the other side of it. You got to I factor in
40 and
as
a half.
well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Cardinals were what, 43 and a half? They had 43. Last week went to overtime, right? It ended up going into overtime. So 7.5 numbers, pretty large for a Thursday night game, in my opinion. Going into this, coming into this game. Jets, now, overseas game again, 6:30 a.m., Broncos-Jets this weekend. Jets minus 0-5. Now, I always try to find you're a dog better and things like that. I try to look and see where if there is a play on the Jets, as they've had a terrible start to the season, et cetera, et cetera. Overseas, Broncos aren't spectacular, 3-2. Is there a line on the Jets here with going overseas, having that stuff, some changes there for them, all of that? Is there a play on the Jets here this weekend at all, Lou, or just no?
I said last week on this show, Denver has got a great chance of representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. I'll say it again. Who'd they beat last week? Oh, they went to Philly and won in Philly.
Came back and won.
Don't underestimate that. This is a puppy wumping.
7-point favorites. The Broncos are going into this. Yeah.
This game smells like 24-6.
Okay, and I don't disagree with it. I would not look at the Jets at any point on this line, even the under.
I think
over
Denver's
43
very, very real. I think Denver, Kansas City, and the Chargers. I think all three of those teams are extremely real.
Really?
Yes.
Even the Chiefs today, even though you're watching them play and you still think so.
Yeah, I think that Jacksonville and Indy are pretty real too.
Well, I agree with those two now. Absolutely. I'm expecting it. I mean, speaking of which, let's just talk about that, right? Cardinals go to the Colts this weekend the way the Cardinals lost last week. Like you said, you pay attention to the noise. Everybody's reporting. They're all getting together this week. They've all forgiven their coach. They've talked about it. There's a familiarity with the Arizona coaching staff and the Colts coaching staff. They used to coach together back in the day. But Daniel Jones, the way this offense is going on the Colts, Cardinals defense is going to be key in this game. Lots of pressure on the Cardinals offense with their continued sputtering here. Colts are surprising everybody. I don't know. Are the Colts? They can't be surprising people still. People are betting them early on, and the lines are coming in more toward the Colts now, right? The underdog Colts and the surprise for them has got to be off on the lines at least, right?
Well, I don't know really what you're asking, but people are high on the Colts. So
people are betting them early is what I'm getting at, whereas early in the season they probably weren't.
This game was 3.5 a week ago.
7 now.
And so now it's 7. So they're just vomiting. And so here's the question. This is the water cooler game. Which one of you, especially watching in Phoenix right now, has enough huevos to bet the Cardinals? Because if you're in my business, that's the bet. That's what I'll do. And can you do it? Don't need an answer. You have to answer that for yourself. But if you're going to be long-term in this business, that's how you have to play.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no advantage to doing anything on the Colts here now. By the way, Cardinals +7, -105 going into this game.
Yeah, that means be patient. You might get 7.5.
You think it'll move that? Yeah, because Colts are -115 right now, -7. So
patience.
You might see that to move there. Now, is 7 a good line to play? Because obviously you can get the tie there that brings it into it. Or do you prefer a 7.5 or 6.5?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If the line's 7.5 and I'm given, I want the 7.
Yeah.
So I try and keep on the correct side. And knowing a push isn't a loss, I'll use the flat number to my advantage if there's such a thing.
Just allow the plus number to be in there.
Unusual for me. I don't think you'd ever see me in the I could check all my results, but I don't know that I've ever, even in any kind of game, given 7.5 points to anybody. I'll tease that down. I'll do something with it. But
yeah. Okay, that's why I was asking that question, because to me, 7.5 is like, why? But I always forget about the teaser side of things.
Well, and right now, favorites over 5 points in the NFL are pretty on fire right now this year. So we'll see. Usually that changes and reverts.
Yeah, that is an amazing stat that you see out there. So from that perspective, Rams-Ravens this weekend. Rams 3-2 on the year. Ravens, Lamar Jackson probably going to be out again. Tempe, the thing that shocked me the most about the Ravens last week, and I'm curious on the look-ahead line here on the Ravens, their offense was non-existent without Lamar Jackson last week. It was, even Derrick Henry couldn't get running the ball last week. It's like it was shut down, completely different offense there against the Rams. I'm assuming the Rams, if I was betting this, the Rams are going to win this game here. But how has the line changed in this game with the Ravens and the way they looked last week without Lamar Jackson?
Well, a week ago it was 4.5 Rams. Now it's 7.5 Rams. So everybody's bailing on Baltimore, and I can get it. The Rams are coming in off 10 days, so they're coming off a Thursday night game, 10 days, and then they go to London after the game. So they're going from L.A., Baltimore. After they play in Baltimore, they're keeping on going out there. As far as Baltimore, they got a bye next week. So what's their mental condition going into the bye? I don't know. This is not a game close to my radar because the way I look, I'd be having to tell you got to take Baltimore in this game, and I don't know that I'm ready to do that. I think one stinker is enough. Now, are you going to skip over Cleveland and Pitt?
No, we're going to go to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just going down through the scheduled games as they go on that. Before we get to that one, the other interesting one in the morning games here, Seahawks at Jaguars in this game. I am super high on the Jaguars. I think the Seahawks are going to, I have said it at the beginning of the season, Seahawks are going to surprise people here in the NFC West. I actually picked them to win this division, or at least be up there. I had the Cardinals up there as well. But, but I also counted on injuries on the other teams. This, to me, is a fascinating game coming out here. Seattle was getting a lot of love on the betting lines early in the season. Now, after that win for the Jaguars there on Monday night, how has this changed, and are people jumping on the Jaguars bandwagon?
Yeah, they are. It was the Jags were given. Well, actually, they're jumping on Seattle. The Jags were one in the look-ahead line, and Sunday night they came out one, and now they're a pick. So you're seeing some money come in on the Seattle side.
Yeah, -1.5 is the spread right now on FanDuel. Jaguars -102. Seahawks -120 on top of that.
Yeah, the Jags are off a Monday night football game, albeit at home, and then they go to London next week. That spells a little bit of a unusual spot for them. I don't really know what to do with the game, but I'll watch it.
Okay, perfect. And then we get to that Browns-Steelers game coming up here as well. And are you looking at this, Lou? Is that why you're bringing this up?
Well, I look at every game. It just so happens that this one is Pittsburgh comes in off of a bye, and Cleveland comes in off a London game where they didn't take a bye after being in London. And not only were they in London with a rookie quarterback, now they put him on a plane, bring him back, and they give him to Pittsburgh, a division situation like this, again, with the travel that goes with it. So as much as the Cleveland quarterback looks spunky in that game, this is a terrible, terrible spot for Cleveland. Current line is Pittsburgh. Again, and when I quote you lines from Circa here, that's where the big boys shop.
Yep.
His are going to be different because FanDuel's where
the public goes.
$20 better bet.
So give us a big. I'll tell you this: FanDuel is -5.5 here for the Steelers. -120 is the
and that's what I got, 5.5. And again, now here's a division game. Here, these teams been playing each other since before I was born. There's pure hatred there, and the total's 38.5. Yeah. So really, if you're betting the game, you got to take the Browns. Ugly as it is, I won't because of the situation. But it'd be hard for me to lay the 5.5, even though I think this is a great spot for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. See, I would like to see the rookie quarterback, and don't forget, he's lost kind of his veteran presence as well in that quarterback room with Joe Flacco leaving. That kind of ticks me down a little bit as well, because having a veteran backup helps a young kid. Having Shedeur Sanders as your backup doesn't necessarily help you.
That Cleveland coach pretty good with quarterbacks.
I don't disagree.
He'll probably have to step in there.
Especially, like you said, coming back from London and his first start and that stuff. And then that Steelers defense coming up from that side. Chargers-Dolphins, I know obviously we're both high on the Chargers this year. It's only a 4.5-point spread here against the Dolphins, obviously for the Chargers side of things. Here coming into it from that side, you like obviously, you'd have to go Dolphins on this line if you're going to bet anything. plus 4.5.
Yeah.
Avoid this game at all costs.
Yeah, it's not one on my radar. I mean, the travel spot for the Chargers is a little iffy. Who knows what to make of Miami? That number's what now?
4.5.
Yeah, and that's where it was a week ago.
It's
With
4.5 minus 120 on the Dolphins plus number there. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, again, the good news is they have to put lines on every game. I don't
You
have to bet every one.
I just figured I'd ask since it was in front of me, but
I got nothing on
Patriots had a big game last week. Ends up coming back and winning that game as well against the Bills. They have the Saints this week, which the Saints aren't very good. I'm more curious on after that Monday nighter here if this line has changed and people dumping money on the Patriots after they went out and beat the Bills whatever night, Sunday night or whenever they battled that out. It's 3.5 favorite for the Patriot right now.
Yeah, and that's where it's been, so it hasn't really moved that much. But the Patriots just had a huge emotional win. And when was it? Oh, it was Monday night, right?
It was Sunday or Monday night. I don't remember.
So they're off of Buffalo, and this is the second of 3 road teams
at
for
Buffalo
them.
too. Yeah,
It was at Buffalo. So on a short week, now they get New Orleans. Tough spot. 3.5 indicates New Orleans. New England is, I think, a better underdog than they are favorite.
okay.
New Orleans is going to be desperate to try and win that first game, and getting in 3.5 at home might be a good spot after New England.
They won one game. They're 1-4 right now.
Who'd New Orleans beat?
They beat
Carolina?
They came back and beat them. Was it Carolina? I don't remember.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
They had to come back to beat them, but it wasn't a good team.
I
I'll
think
put it
the
that
Jets
way.
are the last winless team. So
Yes, the only one left. No undefeateds anymore, and only one lost one still from that side of things. The Giants. Saints beat the Giants. That's who they
sheesh.
beat. 26-14.
Giants ought to go hide in a hole after that. But I think, listen, New Orleans ain't quitting. They're playing hard, feisty football, and I just don't think you can believe everything you saw in 1 week. It isn't. The Patriots aren't as good as what we saw last week, but they're not as bad as what we saw 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean I question things like Stephon Diggs having a really good game at Buffalo. Well, he was going back to a team that discarded him, so I expect him to have a good game, type of thing. Does he continue that with Drake May and things to that effect is kind of what I look at.
Yeah, and fair. And I think between him and Booty and May, they got something there. We'll have to see. That's worth watching.
Will it continue? And they have a coach that's really good, so you got to factor that in as well. I really like Vrabel as their coach there. So as we go into that, Titans Raiders. Now both these teams are 1-4, but what I'm curious on here are the Titans right now. They're 4.5-point dogs going into this game against the Raiders. Raiders have been sorely disappointing, but after that Titans comeback win, people dumping some money on them with some faith against this Raiders team that people are kind of jumping off of their bandwagon.
No, I'm not looking at betting how much money has come in on them. That's not going to be a game that draws much attention to me.
Not at all.
I can't see it, but I tell you what, I do like Vegas in the spot quite a bit.
Raiders here on that 4.5-point favorite, minus 110 right now. But obviously another two. We got 3 big games here on Sunday afternoon. 49ers Buccaneers, both 4-1. 49ers with all their injuries just continue to win. Buccaneers to me might be, if not they're not the number 1 team in the NFC, but they're up there in the top 2 or 3 with the way they've started their season. Right now, 49ers are 3-point dogs going into this game. I do think Buccaneers. I like the Buccaneers with that 3 number to win the game. But what do you think, Lou?
Yeah, I like San Fran here. I like that it was 1.5 a week ago. Tampa's getting love. Everybody thinks San Fran's broke down and no good. Meanwhile, they've had 10 days off to try and heal up a little bit. They're a good, solid team, one of the best coaches in the league, and Tampa's due for, maybe a loose stool.
Which they tend to do, to be honest with you, from that side. Bengals-Packers, we talked about earlier in the show before you came on here, but the big one, Sunday Night Football here. Lions at 4-1, Chiefs 2-3. Chiefs are in a position they haven't been in the last 8 years since Patrick Mahomes came into the league and started games at least here. I worry about the Chiefs' psyche overall, and then they got just a physical team and the Lions coming in. Chiefs right now, and this is what I'm interested in. Chiefs right now are actually 2.5-point favorites on FanDuel. Is that how did it open up?
At 1.5, and it's
Chiefs?
2, and so at the public joints it's 2.5. Okay, they're betting the Chiefs. They're going to bet the Chiefs, and I get that they are betting the Chiefs, but I'm going to sit back. The Chiefs are off a road Monday night football game. That's always a thing. Even though they're at home, it's a short week, and they're going to have to take on a big, huge, stout Detroit team. Detroit was on the road last week in Cincinnati. I love Detroit in the spot, especially at 2.5. Now you're going to use that little 7-point teaser somehow get them up to I think Kansas City, though I think they're real, this spot right here doesn't look very good for them.
Yeah, I think this is a terrible setup game for Kansas City going into it, especially losing Monday night on the road. I think also kind of affects this as well. Anything on Bills Falcons? I mean, Falcons have a lot of people were high on them. They're 2-2 on the season. Bills just came off that loss to New England and that stuff. Going to Atlanta, I like the Bills in this one, at least overall to win the game here. Anything to bet on this side, or are you worried about the Bills at all going into this game?
Yeah, we talked in July and early August that after 4 or 5 games, my Bills bet under season total wins was going to be a loser. And right now, if you're looking at it, I'm 1-4. Okay, I should say the Bills are 4-1 with only 1 loss, but who'd have thought New England would have beat them? And so now I'm going to ask you now from week 6 here. Well, in week 16, we're going to talk about it again, and at that point in time, the Bills will have disintegrated, okay? And what we saw New England do to them last week is the first part of it, and what we see Atlanta going to do to them this week going to be the second part of it. And what Atlanta's going to do, what's that, Bijan Robinson?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have 180 yards. This guy going to run right down the Bills' throat, and Atlanta's going to control the ball. They have the number 1 ranked defense in the league. They'll be able to stand up to Buffalo. And we're going to start to see cracks in Buffalo starting this week, and we'll be talking about it for the next 10 weeks.
All right, perfect. It's starting this week coming up, and then your Bears, Lou. Right, you grew up in that Chicago area and everything. Coming off the bye, coming off of high of a win where they looked good in that bye against the Commanders, who got their quarterback back last week and trying to reclaim some of their mojo. Bears generally move lines when they're playing well after a win and stuff to that. 4.5-point favorites here for the Commanders here. Just curious what the public's thinking about, or the lines are moving with the Bears on Monday Night Football against the Commanders.
Yeah, they're not moving much.
It's Monday night, so people are going to wait to bet it, obviously.
Chicago's on the road. They're off a bye. You got to think we'll get the best effort from them that they can put forward.
Remember, this is the game where that one guy, the Hail Mary, where the defensive back was yelling at the crowd, and then the Commanders caught it. So that was that game last year. So this is that game again this year.
Does that mean that Chicago's going to come in with their ears pinned back?
No, everybody's talking about it. So
here's what I
think they'll be more focused.
The
right?
23rd ranked offense, Chicago. 32nd ranked run offense. That's no will, no commitment, and what about this big offensive line they brought in? And then on defense, they're no better. They're 23rd ranked defense, 28th against the rush. No toughness. Listen, I think this coach could work for the Bears, and he'll let us know if the quarterback can work, because if the quarterback's there next year, that means he can work. But the Bears are a long, long fix, and it was never happening this year. I don't know how Washington doesn't boat race this squad.
I love how you just bring it back to stats and just shut everybody down with stats.
Well,
it makes me.
I
love it.
I use my DVOA.
Yeah.
8th ranked Washington offense against the 23rd ranked Chicago defense. 23rd ranked Chicago offense against the 10th ranked Washington defense. Washington's at home. Monday Night Football. They're a contender. Even though Chicago's had the bye, what can they wrinkle in a week?
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's just the Bears always, people just when the Bears win, it's like people just jump on them and like, oh my God, they're going to the Super Bowl now.
I'm no bigger Bear fan than me. We know my history with them and all that. I'm just tempered because the ownership group is tarnished.
You're looking at the DVOA. You might not have them ranked, so if you don't, then we could talk about it later. But who is the best defense out there right now in terms of the DVOA, in terms of the NFL? Because no defense is just dominated from the start here this year. They've all had letdown games and let people come back and win and stuff to that effect. If you don't have it readily, I was just curious more than anything. It's just these all these comebacks and surprises are just rattling everybody's brains out there, So
Indy's got the 2 ranked. Oh no, that's defense.
That's the problem with the Cardinals this weekend. They're going up against the second-rate offense. I know.
Green Bay's got the 3. Atlanta's the number 1 ranked DVOA defense.
Really?
12th against the run. First
Never would have
against the
guessed
pass.
that. Never would have guessed.
Me neither. That's why I track it.
Wow. That's why we ask those questions here. We get those types of nuggets. Maybe we're sleeping on the Falcons here. Is the Falcons' problem?
I think we are this. I think you are this week.
The Falcons' problem at the beginning of the year has been their offense, not their defense, and that's why they got 2 losses. Is their offense has been disappointing for a couple games.
Well, that quarterback's got to get comfortable and find his
They
way.
got rid of their wide receiver coach. I don't know if that makes that big of a difference, but they have looked better since they've done that. So, Lou, we appreciate you coming in as always on Thursday. He'll be back next Thursday as well to talk this exciting fight down there in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And, of course, let's see what happens this weekend on the NFL side, Lou. Everybody, come on back tomorrow, 8 o'clock as well. And then don't forget, McCollum on Business at 11. Pit Stop Look Ahead show will be up later on today as well. So come and join me there, of course, on the free YouTube page as well. And we'll see you all tomorrow, everybody.